what you call a cosmopolitan international journalist, a public servant of note, and above all, a committed Nigerian who was on the field, who was in, what you will call the war against military rule. He was a guerrilla publisher. You remember the famous Tempo and the News. This was the man that was at the forefront of the championing of the change in Nigerian society. And thank God that battle ensured the enthronement of democracy that we are all enjoying today. And like I said, I do not intend to go into details, but those are just the highlight of the foray of Mr. Sunday Akindari. And please, as he makes his speech, I just want an appeal. Please, let's ensure that we write exactly what he says, because we are all journalists. We do not want to start refuting. I know we are all professionals, we are all committed, we are all disciplined journalists. Please, let's ensure that we stick to what he says. And whatever he once said out of context, whatever he once said off the record, please, let's ensure that we respect that. Gentlemen, I introduce Mr. Sunday Akindari, Minister of Youth and Sport.
Thank you very much, JJ Akaji. A good morning to everyone. I looked at my watch, it's still 11:25. So good morning to all of you. Dr. Sanusi, a title chief, I say good morning to you, and I thank you for investing in this very beautiful resort. It's one of its kind that I've seen. It's impressive. But let me just say that speech this morning, it's a conversation with my constituency. And last year, December, when I addressed the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria in Abuja, I was actually their host at the Abiola Stadium. So I felt I was on comfortable ground. And then after I spoke, they said they wanted to have a question and answer time. And being a journalist, I was their host at the stadium. I said, no problem. And the questions came. And I answered them. I said, record me. You can coach me. The last question that came was, the journalist said, oh, as I walked into the stadium, I wish I had a gun, because I could have hunted for rats and grass cutters and etc. And we all laughed. And he says it was because he saw the bushes, the uncleared green areas, and all of that. It was an important question. So I started to answer it very frank, and I speak. I'm starting from that this anecdotal experience to see the danger. First, the power. Yes, I agree with you. The bushes are grown. We've made efforts to get them cleared. But the ministry was given a bill of 81 or 87 million. And I said I rejected the bill because the ministry and the government does not have that kind of money to spend on cutting bushes. I said, in fact, if I have that 81 million, the high performance center that has been done for 3 years, I will fix it. If I had that 81 million, I will use them for the lights in the stadium. That was exactly what I said, and I was on record. 2 days later, when that story came out, minister to cut grass with 2 million, and complete pandemonium broke out. And being from the media constituency, I was kind of amused at first, and I'm like, no one ever said that. Of course, we got the video out. I did some tweets, but the headline, which was wrong, kept running for another 1 week. Kate Henshaw picked it up but we didn't say it. So what happens is, very often, people prefer to believe a lie. And even when you correct that lie, they still hold on to that lie. Which brings home the importance of the work we do. One of the things I've learned early as a journalist, as a rule of the thumb, is that when in doubt, don't publish. If your story is not confirmed, I told them, Swan, I said, there are so many of you there. You could have asked your friend, was this what the minister said? When we interrogated, it was a question of the editor who was not at the event, rewriting and recasting the headline. So we also live in an age where the tyranny of the headline is a problem. The headline was what everybody read. There was a disconnect between the headline and the body of the story. It was clear. But Nigerians on social media will not even listen. Oh, the minister, 81 million now. Of course, we got over that. We saw that. But I brought that up to bring up the importance of the work we do. The legacy media is still strong. But the online media, married together with social media, you can hardly separate the two of them. That's the challenge you face. You are online. The social media platforms are online. Your role is now extremely critical. How you cast your headline, 100 people killed in Shasha. Excuse me, where is the evidence? What happened to good old journalism? That's one. Two, people don't no longer read the story. They read the headline and then write their own story. That's the unfortunate fact. I learned as a radio broadcaster that the attention span of an average radio listener is short. But that has also now infected print and online journalism. The attention span of a reader is very short. You just look at the headline and you broadcast, not reading the story. 8 years ago, it was 9 years ago, I won a scholarship to study at Oxford University, 2009, as an academic researcher in journalism. And that's a book I'm going to make copies available for all of you. I will also give you the soft copy online. What I did that time was to interrogate the role of citizen journalism in the fight against corruption. It's just the equivalent of online journalism. And I picked Sahara Reporters and one other online platform. You see, now we have the Sahara Reporters, institutional online platforms. But also, individually, you have your blogs. So you are also the equivalent of the Sahara Reporters. You may not have the same hits, but you can also publish your story. And my submission then was that the legacy traditional media was in trouble because of the emergence of citizen and online journalism. I also said governments, individuals, rich and wealthy people, professionals in their field are also in trouble because of the rise of online journalism. Because the most important gatekeeping role that we had in traditional media had been completely eroded. What made that possible is the technology called Web 2.0. That Web 2.0 technology is what gives you the opportunity to open a Facebook page, post your picture, and write your story. In the past, your story must go to the editor, must pass through a sub-editor, a copy editor, If you're lucky, if it's not spiked, because once the story is not good, there used to be something by the side of the editor who does spike your story. It's there. You can't come up again. All of that completely eroded. So when I finished and I defended my academic research work, Oxford University said, you have to publish this as a book, because we see that in another 5 years' time, the danger of online journalism will come. So what title did I give my book? I didn't give it citizen journalism. I gave it the title of We Are All Journalists. Africa in the Age of Online Journalism. Right now, everyone is a journalist.
Yes.
Everybody. My daughter was 14 years old. She's a journalist. One day she posted a story, and I said, this story is a Nigerian story. You're in America. How did you get this story? And she said she went to some Nigerian blogs, and about 4 of them had written the story. So she also repeated the story. I said, well, you can't do that. She said everybody is doing it. Now, how do you protect your integrity? Imagine if everybody that has decides to perform research. The mere fact that you have a stethoscope does not give you the right. The mere fact that you have a pen or you have a platform does not mean that you should slaughter anybody with your story. Yeah, my point is this, and we cannot make it enough. And it's also a plea that the online publishers should set up a regime of ethics. Even traditional journalism has the ethics of journalism. Before they clamp down, before the censorship comes, before even the country invokes certain provisions in our laws, they're already there. They're just not being invoked. You need to set up a regime of ethics for online journalists. The doctors have their oath. Global. The lawyers have their oath. Global. Once you fall short, you're in trouble. Let's bring some respect to journalism. What traditional journalism did not get right, we had ethics there, but there was no enforcement regime. That same problem is plaguing the online journalism. You can make a difference. You can drive that change to say, let's have a regime of ethics that guides us as online. It could be as simple as 10, and then you build them over. Simple as when you're in doubt, you don't publish it. Online journalists, you have a story, reach out to 1 or 2 of your other colleagues. This is the story I have from Chashman. Does it check out with you, or should we go there together? See, we're under the tyranny of the headline. That's the first tyranny. We're also under the tyranny of immediacy. Fast food journalism. You want to just get it out as it's happening, as you know. Serve it as hot as it is. In traditional journalism, it was like when it bleeds, it leads. See, story about Sergey, which ethics. Fundamentally, that's the online publishers and journalists some level of respectability and respect. Gives people the perception that this is a disciplined group of people. There must be a minimum requirement because you must run a membership. So if somebody is in Agege posting on Facebook and there's crisis, they shouldn't lump the person into online public. You must create a distinct path for yourselves. So when the story is from just one person in Agege or somewhere, who posts a story on Facebook. Is that an online journalist? It's not. So that distinction must be there, but you must set the rules very clearly. I was in Shasha yesterday, and when I listened to the ballet and the Seriki, and I juxtaposed that with the early stories I got on Sunday, the gaps were so much. But what I got online was maybe 70% wasn't true. A pregnant woman, an Hausa man, it was just, the story was just everywhere. Again, journalism is journalism. Where? When? You know, you can go on. Key. Journalism is journalism. If you write for people, there are middle-level sources, there are low-level sources, there are high-level sources. Don't let them tell you that if you get it first, you're the best. If you get it first, you can destroy your reputation. When in doubt, leave it out. Finally, I am a product of online journalism. At the advent of when we had the Wi-Fi and the rest, that's when we started fighting Abacha. Then it took us like 2 hours to be able to send an email. But that was when the online thinking. And in the midst of that work, I spent time online. And I found the first biggest opportunity of my career. Invitation to apply as a scholar at New York University. So I applied, and I won. Only 7 people from around the world. So I was able to go out to New York University for 8 months. I was a scholar. I was part of supporting a professor to teach African journalism, but I also attended classes. That made a major difference. So when I came back, the culture of staying online and also looking for opportunities, I'm talking about opportunities. I kept doing that, and then I stumbled on another opportunity, Harvard University. And when I tried to apply, I checked the names of those that have won it. In 60 years, only one person from Nigeria has won a Harvard fellowship. It's the #1 journalism fellowship in the world. The only person that has won that award in Nigeria turned out to be Olusegun Oshoba. So I called him. I said, I want to apply for this. He said, apply. But Sunday is the toughest application you will ever write. That he had encouraged more than 35 editors to do this, and none of them wanted. So I went ahead and applied. Eventually, I won. 1 year study, $74,000 US, all expenses paid. Only 12 journalists, editors from around the world are picked every year.